Chidori. Hey everybody, DP9 Collectibles here, back for another statue unboxing review for you. It has been a hot minute since we have done a Naruto vs Sasuke from the original Naruto series. A little bit of history about this channel is Naruto vs Sasuke by Cloud Studio was one of the first videos that popped off for me, allowed me to get into the YouTube algorithm, so it'll always be a precious scene for me for two reasons. Today's statue is made by a studio called DP9. Now, they don't really make that many statues. This Naruto vs Sasuke might be the only one that I've seen them make so far. We'll see all sorts of different notches all throughout the base. And as we saw there earlier as well, 200 edition size. Not that many around the entire world for this set. The notch right here will be very important to support an effect piece that will install, probably the most important effect piece on this statue. But pretty much the base itself, it's nothing flashy, nothing crazy. It's just a rocky base with a little bit of shading built in here. Now, all throughout the statue are going to be these small to large different effect pieces as to win the chakra that started to kind of ooze from Naruto and form around him as he gained that one tail. We'll pretty much go through all these different effects from small to large. The larger they get, you can really appreciate the paint job that they did, adding the deep reds over to the oranges and yellows. Each piece installs very easily with the magnets that are on the bottom, attaching some of the magnets that are impacted on the base. Now, one thing I can really appreciate about these different effects is they feel bubbly. I don't know how to explain it other than I remember that sound that was used during that fight, and you can kind of feel it as you look at the different effects that they sculpted throughout the statue. With the base all dressed up, we'll go ahead and install Naruto in the center. Impressively, everything but his hands were sculpted onto this one piece. We'll see this is the notch that allows him to attach to the bottom of the base safely, and I love the different chakra that they sculpted throughout his body to give that feeling as if the cloak is beginning to surround him. Now, on the back, you'll see this hole there. That's where the one tail was sculpted that it'll key into. We got the ninja tool pouch there, and there's a smaller notch that allows him to kind of, sit on the base there as well. This part of his outfit, they did sculpt separately. I won't remove it to show you, but that is a little fragile, so they sculpted that part separately. The Uzumaki clan logo looks great, and his hair, I love that they have those like ferrule markings or strikes all throughout the top when he goes into this form. In regards to the head sculpt, I believe they did a great job with it. Now, it's not perfect. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. There's something about it that's off. I don't know if he's too chubby or if his face isn't narrow enough, but it definitely does the trick, from a few feet away like we normally do view statues. But for the most part, I think there was a little bit of room for improvement. The hands they did a great job with. If we really zoom in to the fingernails, they did a great detail by adding kind of a sharper, pointier look to them, like when he does tap into the Nine Tails chakra. Here we have what's known in the Japanese as the Demon Fox Spiraling Spear. I'm so glad we have a cooler name with calling it the Vermilion Rasengan. This is one of the first times we see, his abilities that get taken to a different level because the chakra is mixing between the Kyuubi and Naruto. When you see Sasuke's Chidori later on and think back to this, you're pretty much going to be feeling like, meh, it's not that special, not that much going on, because they did an amazing job with his ability. But what they did do an awesome job with for sure is sculpting this giant one tail. For this statue, this is pretty much the one thing that stands out the most, where it's exhibiting a lot of different power, right? This is one of the first times in the series where we saw this form so heavily around his body, both with the cloak that surrounded him and just this giant moving tail. We never really got a chance to see that. We got a glimmer of it throughout the series, but we didn't get to see it this directly forming with him. The tail goes onto the notch that we said was very important on the rock and to the back of Naruto. It's extremely sturdy and stable once you get it installed. So we'll go ahead and dim the lights and bring this whole thing together. While this looks awesome, there is no built-in LEDs, and I do not plan on customizing anything, which I'm okay with. I love the focal point with Naruto. I love the giant one tail, just a great representation of this scene itself. Now, I do need your help. I have a dilemma here. So for this statue, there's two different cards I sent away to get graded. Here is raw versions of those. So let me know in the comment section below, left or right for the Naruto cards, which ones you think I should display with this statue when those come back. Jumping right on in, we'll take a look at Sasuke's base, pretty much a near mirror to Naruto's base. On the front, you'll see where his foot's gonna key into, right? All the ground is just crumbling right before him. And then we have tons of notches. They're gonna be spread throughout, similar to Naruto's, right? There's a lot of effects, if not a bunch more effects going on onto this statue than compared to how Naruto's statue was. Instead of bubbling chakra for the statue, we have very thick pieces of Chidori that they sculpted onto here. Now, what's super impressive is if you see this little notch here, there is another piece that keys into this. So multiple pieces are coming together to create these large effect pieces. Now this, if you were to ship it by itself, it's extremely fragile, would probably break during the shipping process. So they decided to do that to join it all together. This statue is very impressive how the engineering was executed and how everything just comes together. For those that got this statue, you'll understand trying to figure out which pieces go to what part is actually difficult. Took me quite a few minutes to figure that out. But this one right here, this is the largest piece that's included. There's actually 4 different pieces that come together to make this one giant piece and on here. So once we get all these effect particles on here, you can see this one's a lot more livelier. It has much more of a presence than compared to Naruto's base that we had once we installed all the effects on there. Next up, we'll jump straight into installing Sasuke on here. So similar to Naruto, there is a lot of pieces that were sculpted together. So one arm is missing as well as his wings. Similar to him, we also have that notch with a steel rod for this one in there. Now these pieces are extremely fragile, delicate. They did sculpt those separately. They just key right into those little holes there. We'll install that hand with the Chidori in there later, but the sculpting was done perfectly. I love all the wrinkles throughout the outfit. We can see there's huge holes in the back there where the wings are going to be attaching to. Unlike Naruto, that I probably give the head sculpt, 8 out of 10. Sasuke is a pure 10 out of 10 for me. They did a masterful job. I love how thick the hair is right. It kind of reminds me of almost a version of Madara's hair that's beginning to form, as it did get some length during this moment. But just an awesome looking head sculpt by DP9. This bad boy is a little bit more tricky to get into place because there's 2 steel rods that have to key into there to support those giant wings coming up. Now, I said the Vermilion Rasengan was kind of meh, right? Look at this Chidori compared to that. You have particles flowing everywhere. Crazy that this is one piece all sculpted together. The way that they shipped it was masterful, and they did a great job. I have no breaks on mine. Hopefully most people had the same experience for theirs as well. Thankfully for this piece, there seems to be a magnet inside the shoulder area and a steel rod on the end of the arm. So that's how it connects to there and stays into place. There's a little bit of weight to it because of all the different particles and pieces they have, but we'll turn this around and take a look at the giant looking chicken wings. Before we do, I hate to take a step backwards, but I have to remove an effect piece in the Chidori up front. I don't want anything to break before we do install these, but how absolutely crazy do these things look? I swear, no matter how many times I see these up close in person, how they sculpt these, they are freaky and creepy. I mean, you got multiple different fingers sculpted within this hand. I don't even want to begin to count how many. As disgusting it looks as well, you have all those wrinkles that they sculpted into there. It does give a nice sense of realism. We have these long nails that were in there as well. So, I mean, perfect, right? It's as creepy as it is and weird, disgusting. They did an amazing job with sculpting these 2 wings to bring it to life. I said this in the other video as well, but it always amazes me how he learned to control these so quickly after he sprouted them. And there we have it. Just like Naruto, there is no built-in LEDs, but gosh, how much of a presence does this statue have overall? Again, I love the central focus being on Sasuke in the center. Now, one thing I do want to showcase real quick is they did come with these edition size nameplates. I forgot to show Naruto's before, so we'll just go ahead and show these. Just standard steel plates. I usually actually don't display these next to my statues. That's primarily because if you've seen some of my other videos, you will notice that I do enjoy putting cards next to statues. So we'll jump right into looking at the 2 options that I have available. Again, 2 of these cards were sent out for grading, so I would love to hear your thoughts. We have our left and right Sasuke. Again, which one do you think I should put with this card? Also, let me know again for Naruto in the comments below. It is time to bring these 2 gorgeous statues side by side. Now, if you didn't notice before, there is a level of symmetry that exists with these where they're mimicking each other's poses, just a different orientation for those. I believe it perfectly captures and represents as if they're both on each side. So a little bit of artistic interpretation here going on, but fantastic how these bad boys look side by side. I sold Cloud Studios Naruto and Sasuke just to change to a different version of these, and I'm so happy with the turnaround. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more statue unboxings in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I will see you in the next awesome unboxing video. Do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.